Man, I love what I do. I love what I do each and every week. Talking about the product that we're all emotionally invested in, for better or for worse, each and every week. I love what I do because I'm real. I love what I do because I feel that I'm very truthful and genuine in my delivery and in my feelings on the current WWE product. When it's bad, I tell you when and why it's bad. And when it's good, I tell you when it's good and why it's good. Now, we all know that the product, naturally, is on a downward spiral. The quality of the product is just generally terrible. And a lot of my reviews and a lot of my podcasts and a lot of my opinions seem to have this negative aura about it. And I like it that way. I like it that way because, again, I'm genuine. But I also like it that way because when we get a show like we got tonight, it just sets the vibe for a very good night. It sets the vibe and the tone for a very good discussion on professional wrestling. Now, if I came on here every week and I said the product was great, knowing it was shit, then nobody would be watching me, I feel. And people would get bored, people would see right through that. But the fact that the product has been just generally terrible, and we got a show like we got tonight, I feel like tonight is going to be one of those nights where we all feel good, and we're all in the same boat. SmackDown Live was fucking awesome tonight. And what they did with Kofi Kingston tonight at the end of SmackDown Live was fucking great. I absolutely loved everything that Xavier Woods did. I loved the intensity of Big E, and I loved the message right from his own mouth Kofi Kingston delivered to Vince McMahon. I love Vince McMahon's just ego taking over everything. I created this, I created Raw, I created SmackDown, I created WrestleMania. Nobody deserves anything. I love that Vince came off in a way that we expect Vince McMahon to come off. And I love that Vince McMahon pretty much stated exactly what we were all talking about on this very podcast. Kofi, if I thought you were a WWE champion in the last 11 years, it would have happened already. Vince McMahon, honestly, the only thing that he didn't say was the fact that, you know, I didn't make you a WWE champion, or I didn't give you an opportunity at the WWE championship because of who you are and the color of your skin. That's the only thing he didn't mention. Everybody in the community is making it out to be a racial thing. But here Vince McMahon is, and he's talking about, if I seen you as a WWE champion in the last 11 years, I would have given it to you already. I thought this was absolutely fantastic stuff. Kofi Kingston stating, Vince, what do I have to do? Going over the moments of his life with his kids that he can't be there for. He hasn't taken his kids trick-or-treating yet. His 2-year-old just lost his first tooth. He couldn't be there to see the happiness on his face as he woke up to see the money the tooth fairy left him. Going over all these real-life situations. Another great thing for people to emotionally attach themselves to the man that is Kofi Kingston during WrestleMania season. All he wanted was an explanation. I never asked you for an opportunity. I always gave in hopes that you seen that I deserve it. I never once complained when others were getting opportunities just based off who they were, because you appointed them or they were your favorite. All I'm doing here, now that I have you in front of me face to face, is wanting to know what I have to do. And Vince McMahon laid it out for him. Yeah, you're a talented man. You're an incredible athlete. What you did at the Royal Rumble for several years. Being creative in the Royal Rumble. And the gauntlet match lasting an hour, and what you did at the Chamber. It's all great. But You want to know what you got to do? Out comes Randy Orton. Out comes Randy Orton. I would have stopped it right there. I would have just honestly stopped it right there. Randy Orton comes out, and I would have loved Randy Orton to be the guy that Kofi Kingston had to go through to get to WrestleMania. AJ Styles has made a mention of it that Kofi deserves this opportunity. They could have played the Orton AJ Styles storyline into that. But WWE went above and beyond to make this just a situation that, A, is going to get Kofi Kingston over, but I think they shot themselves in the foot tonight by doing just a little bit too much and making everything seem so not believable. Vince McMahon said, you got to beat Randy Orton, you got to beat Samoa Joe, you got to beat Sheamus, you got to beat Cesaro, you got to beat Daniel Bryan, and you got to beat Rowan in a gauntlet match next week on SmackDown Live. That is just a tad bit ridiculous. I do not see Kofi Kingston going to WrestleMania, especially next week in that situation. I would honestly have him lose. There's no way you're beating all of those individuals. There's no way that Samoa Joe should lose again on the road to WrestleMania as the United States Champion. Randy Orton can't really take a loss as he's in a major program with AJ Styles. Daniel Bryan is going to have his shoulders pinned to the mat again in a non-title WWE Championship opportunity? I don't understand that logic. I would not have Kofi Kingston win that gauntlet match. I would have him come till the very last leg of that thing and then fail and find some other way to get into WrestleMania. That's just utterly ridiculous. I loved everything about that closing segment on SmackDown Live, and WWE has to go and do something so ridiculously outlandish and not believable, and I just can't sit here and really tell you guys that Kofi's going to WrestleMania through those means. I don't think that should be the way. I just can't see it. That is insurmountable odds for Kofi Kingston. Now, if he ends up doing it and everybody does get on the same page and make this guy into a fucking megastar on top of what he's done already, I would be shocked. I would honestly be shocked. And it would be a situation where Kofi Kingston is going to be the most over guy in the company. Man, they're really getting behind all this shit, man. But I cannot believe that WWE is going to have him run through Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, and Randy Orton in the same gauntlet match? That is honestly fucking ridiculous, man. That's like some WWE 2K19 shit. That's like that $1 million fucking challenge. You know? That is honestly ridiculous. But I thought it was great, man. I loved everything about what the New Day did, and we'll talk about it more as we get on with the review, but SmackDown Live hit a home run tonight. Not only with Kofi Kingston, but with Randy Orton and AJ Styles. Brilliant promo by both of those guys. We'll go over that. Shane McMahon coming out and giving us an explanation as to why he attacked The Miz and George Mizanin and everything else in between. WrestleMania, honestly, there were reports about WrestleMania not really being complete. And WWE here tonight, at the end of Raw and SmackDown this week, we have a solid 8 matches for WrestleMania. More obviously to be added. IC title, what Kurt Angle is doing. We got tag team titles on both shows that need matches. Asuka needs a match. The US title needs a match. The Cruiserweight Championship needs a match. There's a lot more left to do as far as WrestleMania goes, but SmackDown Live, with 4 weeks left to go, set the table very nicely tonight on what I thought was a great episode of SmackDown Live, man. Follow me on social media, at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. That is at JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. Follow me on Twitch, JD from New York. If you guys want to support the podcast on Patreon, patreon.com/JD206. To everybody listening to the audio version exclusively on Patreon, what is up, guys? I'll see you all on Friday. Thank you so much for all your support. Make sure you guys go and get your t-shirts, man. Bonfire.com is the exclusive home of JD's Elite. I'm loving all the pictures you guys have sent me of your t-shirts, man. They look great, and I can't wait to get mine and start wearing it on the show, man. I'm definitely wearing that to the Hooters meet and greet that will be taking place on Friday, April 5th on WrestleMania weekend. That is right before NXT TakeOver New York. But JD's Elite, exclusively on Bonfire.com. There were a few concerned individuals last night on the Raw review. The link in the description was not working. I don't know why. YouTube cut off half of the link when I put it in the description. That is all fixed, so don't worry about it. If you guys want to go get your t-shirts, they are available. Link is down in the description towards the very top. Go and get yours today, man. JD's Elite, exclusively on Bonfire.com. The most successful selling t-shirt for Off the Script. Make sure you guys go and check out all the other videos that you might have missed in the last couple of days, man. Going back to the weekends, Off the Script, episode 265. Fastlane review was Sunday. We got Off the Script on Friday and Saturday. And then Raw, Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns being set up for WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre probably going to be fed to the Roman agenda at WrestleMania. So make sure you guys go and check all of that stuff out if you did not see it yet. It is there in the annotation, that little exclamation point in the top right corner of your screen. And like I said, man, Hooters, JD from NY, official meet and greet Off the Script from 1 to 4 p.m. April 5th, Friday. That is right before NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Hooters, 155 West 33rd Street in New York City. That is across from Madison Square Garden. Come and hang out. That will give you guys plenty of time to get to the Barclays Center for NXT TakeOver if you are indeed going. RSVP is down in the comments, pinned at the very top, man. So make sure you guys go and check all of that stuff out. Let's get into the SmackDown Live review, man. Hour 1 opened up with Shane McMahon. He is there, and he's standing in front of the worthless World Cup trophy. Now, I loved what they did with Shane and Greg Hamilton, the SmackDown Live ring announcer. Now, Greg Hamilton announced him as Shane McMahon, the best in the world, and Shane McMahon not once, not twice, but 3 times had Greg Hamilton do this over and over and over again. Each time, Greg Hamilton giving it a little bit more emphasis, and as if he really meant it on the last time. So Shane McMahon really playing up his heel persona now after what he did at Fastlane to The Miz. Shane said people have been asking why. So everybody wanted to know why he attacked The Miz and his father, George Mizanin, at the end of their match at Fastlane. He said, frankly, I'm sick of it. He said he's not going to talk about the fans or the wrestlers in the back or the thousands of WWE employees who just want a handout. He said they're always wanting him to do something for them to get ahead in life. And I love that the fans were chanting, we want Kofi. And Shane McMahon, if you watch tonight's show, he's like, yeah. And he completely ignored the we want Kofi chants. He paused and continued to say that he said the fans have no idea what he does for the WWE behind the scenes each and every day. He said it's all about what he can do for them. Them. He put a stop to that when he beat up The Miz in his hometown of Cleveland. He said he's not the best in the world because he won a stupid trophy or because he became the tag team champions. He said he became the best in the world because I was born that way. He said from this point forward, he's going to start doing things for him, and it felt good on Sunday night. Said he took a look at The Miz's dad sitting front row, saying The Miz's dad had a baked potato face. I'm guessing that they were serving baked potatoes in Titus Catering on Tuesday night tonight. He said the feeling he had on Sunday was so tremendous, everyone should get used to it because this is the new Shane McMahon. He pointed at the WrestleMania sign and said, Miz works for me. He told The Miz to get ready for another best in the world beating because at WrestleMania, this beating will feel awesome. Very simple. Very simple. Straight to the point. Shane McMahon looked good. And you could really believe the words that Shane McMahon was saying. This is really Shane McMahon. He was born that way. He's a McMahon. He's supposed to be acting that way. Now, the only thing that I hope doesn't happen is that we see The Miz in these sporadic moments. I'm all for Shane McMahon being a heel. I think he came off looking very good. It looked good at the Fastlane pay-per-view on Sunday, and they continued making Shane McMahon look good here on Tuesday night on SmackDown Live. But what I don't really anticipate, or what I really don't have an interest in, is seeing babyface Miz go back and forth with Shane McMahon. It's going to be very, very difficult for me to believe in a babyface Miz. I could believe in a heel Shane McMahon because he's a McMahon, and I know he has that in him to just have that inner dick come out. But a babyface Miz, I hope we see it sporadically and we get something decent as an end result at WrestleMania. But so far, so good, man. So far, so good. Shane McMahon with the beating. Shane McMahon with the explanation. We didn't see The Miz tonight. I am okay so far with this storyline. Again, the key is going to be presenting The Miz as a babyface in moderation. Because if it goes too much, I'm not going to have an interest in The Miz whatsoever. And this is going to be a completely lopsided investment for this match going into WrestleMania. Alistair Black and Ricochet with Matt and Jeff Hardy versus Rusev, Shinsuke Nakamura, and The Bar. This went to a no contest. Very good 8-man tag. Nothing super special about this. This was pretty much a continuation of what has transpired over the last couple of weeks. Alistair Black and Ricochet beating Nakamura and Rusev. You got Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy going up against The Bar in their return. So this was a mixture of everything that's happened over the last couple of weeks. This went for a no contest, and it ended at 11 minutes. At the end of the entire thing, the New Day come out there, and they take everybody out, and they go right for Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. So this was actually a continuation of what we seen on Fastlane, where Nakamura and Rusev stopped both Big E and Xavier Woods in the aisleway as Kofi Kingston was being beat up by The Bar. So obviously the New Day wanted revenge not only on those two guys, but also Sheamus and Cesaro for what they did to Kofi Kingston. And they were all genuinely pissed off about Kofi Kingston having his opportunity again just trolled for the WWE Championship. This was good stuff. This was good stuff, and I like that WWE is continuing just the minor details from what we see from Sunday going on into Tuesday, man. I like that continuation, and we need to see more of that on WWE television. The Usos. We don't know who their opponents are going to be at WrestleMania. I'm assuming that it's going to be a multi-tag team affair, maybe with The Bar, maybe with the New Day, maybe with the team of Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know. We may get Alistair Black and Ricochet against the Revival. We don't know. I would rather one of those matches be a standard tag team match. I don't mind a multi-person match, but at this point, WWE is laying out the WrestleMania card, and it's looking pretty decent on paper after SmackDown Live tonight. What I hope that they don't do is add multi-person match on top of multi-person match just for the sake of getting everybody on the show. I would like to see standard matches take place at WrestleMania. It's more of something that I genuinely like better than just getting everybody on the show. And I'm sure I'll mention this on Off the Script. You know, all because it's WrestleMania, that doesn't mean you have to be on the card. If you really haven't done anything throughout the calendar year, you don't belong on WrestleMania. Battle Royal is for you. Battle Royal is fine. They want to put a Battle Royal on the pre-show and get everybody involved? Fine. But when you start making multi-person matches just to get everybody on the mid-card in a match all at the same time, and when you got the tag team championships being defended against 6 other fucking teams, that doesn't really interest me. So I'm hoping that the Usos have a match with the Hardys or the New Day or nothing, to be honest with you. I don't want a multi-person match. I would like it to be the Hardys. And then I would like Ricochet and Alistair Black to continue what they're doing with the Revival. Simple. Not every team deserves a title shot. That's what I don't understand. Now, if you're Sheamus and Cesaro, why do you deserve a title shot? Because it's WrestleMania? No, I don't like that. It's Usos and the Hardys, and then you got Ricochet and Alistair Black, who are going to be on WrestleMania's card. Great. I think they deserve it after everything that they've done. And the fact that they're new and putting them on that stage gets them in front of more eyes and them going up against the Revival. Square that away. Put that on the card. Boom. You want a multi-person match? You got the U.S. title. You got the U.S. title, and you could do the multi-person match and a ladder match of some sort there with Joe and R-Truth and Almas and Rey Mysterio. Don't give me all these multi-person matches just for the sake of it. The Usos, I would hope that they go up against the team of the Hardys, Jeff and Matt. But they cut a very good promo, man. I love their intensity. They are absolutely one of the best tag teams in the world. They cut a nice little promo down in the bowels of the building, going over all the other teams on SmackDown Live, but stating that there is only one Usos, and if they all want a shot, you know where to find them. That's pretty much it. Randy Orton. Randy Orton comes out in the next segment, and he's in the ring, and he said he had something to get off his chest. We've been waiting for Randy Orton and AJ Styles to continue their feud and take it to the next level. We've been wanting this feud for several months now. We all thought that when AJ was the WWE champion that we would have at least seen this in his run. We did not. And looking back on all of that and seeing how I can honestly say that AJ Styles' WWE championship run was slightly lackluster. Matches with Nakamura didn't really, perform at the high level that I thought that they would. The matches with Joe were very good, but they didn't really do anything as far as I go to take it to that next level or that next level of excitement. And I'm glad looking back on it all that Randy Orton wasn't thrown into that mediocre title run by AJ Styles. I love AJ, but I feel like the title was, I wouldn't say the title was held down by AJ. I just feel like his run, or the run that WWE created for him, was a little lackluster. So, looking back on it, I'm glad that AJ wasn't thrown into that, and we're getting this, just a regular one-on-one match, fresh, with nothing on the line, which gives them more of a meaning to go at each other personally instead of making it about the title first and then everything else second. I love this. I love that WWE could potentially use this as a way to crown a number one contender, because both of these guys are at the top of the SmackDown Live roster. And if WWE wanted to do that, they certainly could. I loved the personal feeling of this entire promo. First with Randy. And Randy is the perfect guy to go right for the jugular when talking about what he stated. Orton said he has something to get off his chest. He said, if this is the house that AJ Styles built in 2002, Styles was wrestling for $10 a night in high school gymnasiums in front of 12 people, while I was here making my WWE in-ring debut. He said in 2004, Styles was shaking hands with his opponents in bingo halls, Ring of Honor, when he was becoming the youngest WWE champion of all time. He said in 2005, Styles was in Florida getting a tan with Dixie Carter while he was wrestling The Undertaker at WrestleMania. He said from 2006 all the way to 2015, he was here as a champion. This isn't the house that AJ Styles built. He said this is the house that Randy Orton built. Right there, you knew before he opened his mouth, I think everybody collectively was thinking, Randy Orton needs to be a dick. He needs to bring a promo that is going to level the fucking house down. That's exactly what he did. There is no better individual on the roster just based off his past, just on social media alone, going at all the indie marks. No person better than Randy Orton to cut this promo. I loved that argument brought to the table by Randy Orton. So Styles comes on out. Obviously, he has some shit to say. He entered the ring and said, for someone who looks down on the independent wrestling scene, you sure followed my career very closely. Love it. right out of the gate, AJ comes swinging. He said he did come from the indies, and he's damn proud of it. He said people say that guys like Orton weren't built for the indies. They were built for the WWE, and that is a fact. That is just genuinely a fact. You don't know how many people I talk to when I ask them, create your perfect professional wrestler. If a professional wrestler was to look a certain way, what would be your perfect pro wrestler? Do you know how many people say Randy Orton? So when AJ Styles says something like that guys like Orton weren't built for the indies, they were built for the WWE, that is exactly what he's talking about. And he went on to pretty much poke fun at Randy Orton. That's a good thing, he said, because guys like you wouldn't have made it on the independent scene. Now, he struck Orton's pose. He did this. He's like, you're not going to make it on the independent scene doing your typical Randy Orton pose or, not with things like a knockoff diamond cutter. So you're going right for the balls when you start mentioning the pose and then Randy Orton's finishing move, which right now is an iconic finisher in WWE history. Orton asked if Styles is telling him that him and his little indie pals never ripped anybody off. You and your boys, they never ripped anything off. And Randy Orton, all he did was do this. He did the Too Sweet, obviously mentioning the Elite and the Young Bucks. Styles said, look backstage. Look backstage. It has nothing to do with my indie friends. You're surrounded by the independent wrestling scene in the locker room. They earned the right to be here in the WWE. They didn't go to their father to get them a job. So obviously now AJ Styles is taking the personal level to another extent. They didn't go to their father to get them a job. Styles said in his first year he had help with the stroke of Triple H, the cunning of Ric Flair, and the muscle of Batista, just to make sure you didn't fail. Orton said he performed more by age 24 than he did and his cohorts ever dreamt of accomplishing. He ran down his accomplishments, and obviously AJ Styles had a rebuttal for this as well. Obviously you remember Legacy, or maybe you don't. Here's a good one. The Wyatt family. Obviously you had Evolution, and then he goes on to say, sounds to me like you had a lot of babysitters. Styles said he is a viper and he uses everyone around him and then tosses them to the curb. He said that's why he got the jump on him at Fastlane, because he won't be the next victim of Randy Orton. Orton said to AJ Styles, you don't have a choice. Orton said, and I love this line, Orton said that he is the landlord of SmackDown Live and rent's due, you son of a bitch. I absolutely loved it. I think everybody at this point was marking out. He told him to make the check out to the most destructive 3 letters in sports entertainment, RKO. He dropped the mic and then obviously left the ring. Styles says, if you want your rent, you know where to find me. Come and take it. He pointed to the WrestleMania sign and he threw the mic down, and that was it. This was a thing of beauty. You want a moment that you're going to look back on between two guys at the end of 2019? We had Ronda and Becky right after the Royal Rumble on Monday Night Raw. This was another one, man. This was absolutely fucking brilliant. Both guys played their roles beautifully. Randy Orton is the perfect guy to get all that venom off his chest about the background of AJ Styles, and obviously AJ Styles is very well endowed to come back and rebut Randy Orton, man. This was fucking great. And I love the fact that there's no championship on the line and that they can go at each other's throat on a personal level about Randy's background, about AJ's background, about Randy disrespecting the indies and AJ being proud of where he came from. That's an undercard match that is absolutely the epitome of what WrestleMania is, and I can't wait to see what those two guys do in the ring at WrestleMania on April 7th. Sonya Deville with Mandy Rose versus Asuka. This was short and sweet. Nothing really all that impressive here. Asuka wins with the Asuka lock in 3 minutes. Obviously, she had to go through Mandy Rose, which she did. Sonya Deville caused Mandy to lose at Fastlane. Now, Mandy Rose here, she looked at Sonya lose on her own, and that was pretty much it. I don't know where they're going with this. I mentioned this on Sunday night during the review. It looks like they are teasing a split of Mandy and Sonya, which at the end of this thing is not going to be good for Sonya Deville because all of the money from management is on Mandy and not Sonya Deville. We had Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch started hour 2. And there's no more crutch, people. There is no more crutch for Becky Lynch. Good. They heard the cries and the whimpers of the YWC. But what they failed to do now is make any sense of why this woman doesn't need the crutch. You see, it's just, you can't win and you can't win. WWE had Becky and the knee attacked more so than ever before, right before Fastlane. Now, of all times, she doesn't need the crutch? Why did she get rid of the crutch? Did she just miraculously heal up after Fastlane? I don't know, man, but whatever the case may be, the crutch was long past its expiration date, and here we are with Becky and no crutch. She comes out and talked about her bumpy road on the road to WrestleMania with the arrests and the suspensions, and she said that the man is back on her own 2 feet without the crutch, and she's in the main event of WrestleMania. The title match that she set in motion is finally happening. She said she picked Rousey, then Charlotte got shoehorned in by Vince McMahon politically, and she had to earn her way back into the match twice. Once by winning the Royal Rumble, and then obviously she mentioned the entire DQ that Ronda Rousey set up at Fastlane, and I like the way that they did this. I like the fact that Becky brought this to everybody's attention. I played Ronnie like a fiddle, and she got Ronnie to do exactly what she wanted to do, like a puppet. She went on to say, and I quote, "Lads, do you know how hard it is to play mind games on a woman with no brain?" She got Ronnie so wound up, so she did her bidding for her. "Thanks for that, Ronda, you little weirdo," she goes on to say. "I will repay you at WrestleMania by taking your Raw Women's title and ripping your arm off." She doesn't care, she says, does Becky, who she has to beat, Charlotte or Ronda. She's taking what they've tried to give to someone else all these years. I think it was simple, it worked, and I like that they made an explanation of what, happened at Fastlane with the entire DQ, because it looked a little stupid on Ronda's behalf, but I like that they sent Becky out there with some sort of an explanation as to why Ronda did what she did. It's because Becky mind-fucked Ronda Rousey on social media. Charlotte came out and she congratulated Becky for qualifying for her main event. She said, "As Becky kept doing anything to stay out of the ring, I've been putting all the work in the ring." She said her resume speaks for itself. She said it's one thing to be hot for 6 months, but she's been hot for 4 years. She said that's why she was chosen. "I was chosen because I get the job done." Charlotte said no matter how hard she spins it, this Sunday, Becky gets a handout from Ronda Rousey. She said never in her life has she seen someone do so little but take credit for so much. She said that's why she's going to make her and Ronda Rousey relevant again when you bow to the Queen at WrestleMania while you all call me Miss WrestleMania. I love what Becky said here in retaliation. She said, "Shut your face, you plastic-faced dope." So I love Becky when she comes with these just quick one-liners, man. She said in 4 years she didn't do anything with the women's division, and now the man came along and they're main eventing WrestleMania. Now, that is a short-sighted line. I think without Ronda, neither of these women are going to be in the WrestleMania main event. So, that was kind of ridiculous for Becky to say, but she's only hyping her own brand up in this case to Charlotte. She said, "We didn't need a queen. What we needed was the man." And she extended her right arm up as she smiled and the music played, and that was the end of the segment. Charlotte was simple here, but it's the same old rinse and repeat from Charlotte. "I'm Miss WrestleMania. My resume speaks for itself. You were hot for 6 months. I've been hot for 4 years." It's the same old thing, rinse and repeat with Charlotte to Becky. Now, it's the same thing from Becky to Charlotte as well. "I've been held down. I got to get what I deserve. Blah, 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 blah." I could honestly do without these two women for a week. Just give some Instagram 60-second bullshit. Show it on the screen during the show. We don't need this rhetoric and this verbatim again next week because it's just going to get old. I think right now the next natural progression in all of this is more talk on social media and a UFC-style contract signing between Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte. If they continue doing this in moderation, like I said, with some Instagram stuff and some Twitter stuff, it should be fine. But if they're going to come out here and say the same old shit every single week that we've been hearing for the last 4 months, I don't know how that's going to last on the last 3 weeks going into WrestleMania. But it was fine for what it was. It just didn't break any ground as far as getting us excited. I think all of us are at our peak excitement for Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte at WrestleMania. I enjoyed Becky did more so than I did Charlotte here, but that's always been the case for this entire feud. Daniel Bryan is there with Kayla Braxton and Rowan, who is wearing a Power Wolf t-shirt. Kudos to Rowan. She asked about Bryan and Rowan leaving Vince McMahon's office. Bryan said it was a private matter. She asked if it had to do with KOFI. Bryan said, as a matter of fact, it was. He said he thought Mr. McMahon deserved his honest feedback about KOFI tonight before he makes his decision. She asked what McMahon's reaction was. He said McMahon put him and Rowan in a match against Mustapha Ali and Kevin Owens, and then that was pretty much it. Just a tag team match. He didn't dive into any more serious talk with Kayla Braxton after that. Very generic tag team match. Samoa Joe and Andrade with Zelina Vega versus Rey Mysterio and R-Truth. This is the United States Championship title picture right now. Just kind of split into two teams. You got the baby faces against the heels, whereas they were all four against each other for the United States Championship. Truth and Rey win in 8 minutes. This was a solid TV match. Didn't really care for the outcome, though. We had Joe give Rey a senton after a 619 attempt. He went for the big splash off the top rope, went to pin Andrade. Joe stopped out with a senton. He went for a Uranagi, but Rey countered into a roll-up for a leverage pin. And afterwards, Joe just completely destroyed Rey, Truth, and even his partner, Andrade, to just stake claim to the United States Championship and show dominance that he is the king of this mid-card jungle on SmackDown Live. I did not like this. I did not like this at all. It is not believable for a guy like Rey Mysterio to pin Samoa Joe in that situation. Do you know how ridiculous it looks for Rey Mysterio to pin Samoa Joe in a leverage roll-up? Samoa Joe would eat Rey Mysterio in that pinfall. Seriously. That looked fucking ridiculous. Number two, Joe just won the title. Why is this man taking pins on TV as the United States champion? Just like my buddy Jesse said, and I agree with him, WWE cannot wait to put a title on somebody and have them lose in a non-title situation, whether it's a non-title match or a tag team environment. The titles mean nothing at that point. There's no dominating champions on these shows. That is an issue. If you are a champion, you should not be losing like Joe lost tonight. I fucking hate that. I absolutely despise that. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, it was either Joe or Andrade taking the pin. Cause a DQ, cause a countout, something. Neither of those guys need to be pinned, and Joe, especially being the United States champion, should not have been pinned. I don't know where they're going with the United States Championship from here. We have a bunch of situations and routes that WWE could take. First, I heard it's going to be Joe versus Cena for the United States Championship. I'm hearing a multi-man match. Cena possibly fighting Kurt Angle in his retirement match. Finn Balor lost the IC title to Bobby Trashley on Monday Night Raw. There's got to be a reason internally that they took the title off of him to give it back to Lashley. Maybe they're aligning Finn with Kurt Angle. I don't know. Or maybe better yet, maybe they're going to do Finn Balor versus The Undertaker that I originally brought to the table months ago during Royal Rumble season. I don't know, man. There's a lot of different routes that WWE could take right here. But if they want to get the most bang for their buck, put these four guys in a ladder match. Because this has been the ongoing thing. It makes sense. And I think everybody would love to see these guys tear the house down in a ladder match. Put John Cena versus Kurt Angle. John Cena's not going to be on TV until the very last week. It makes sense. He's not going to have much television time. Why the hell not? They have history behind both of them. Make that happen. And then do Finn Balor versus The Undertaker. Demon versus the Demon King. I love it. There you go. At this point, WrestleMania is going to be 12 hours. 16, 17 matches in total at WrestleMania if WWE really wants to go that route. I hope to God not. Kevin Owens and Mustapha Ali versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Rowan and Bryan win here in 10 minutes. I love the ending of this match. Rowan actually tagged in on a Daniel Bryan Irish whip. And he tagged in on a Irish whip. Daniel Bryan hit the turnbuckle. And he tagged in. Mustapha Ali had his back turned. So when Mustapha Ali was thinking he was in the ring with Bryan, he went off the top rope for a corkscrew or a cross body block, a reverse cross body block. And Eric Rowan caught him, chokeslammed him down. He didn't know what the hell hit him. And Eric Rowan pinned Mustapha Ali. I'm loving Ali, man. I think he's going to get what he deserves in 2019. He keeps doing performances like he did at Fastlane. And here tonight, he's going to be just fine in 2019. But I really like the ending there with Rowan and Bryan winning this tag team match over Owens and Ali. And I know everybody's probably just waiting for Kevin Owens to turn heel on SmackDown Live. And then obviously the ending, man. We talked about it in the beginning. We talked about Kofi Kingston and what Vince McMahon said to Kofi Kingston. McMahon took the microphone and said that he's here to give the fans and Kofi what they want, and that is a WWE title match. He got right into it. He pointed out on the big screen and said, this is what happened on Sunday night. He showed clips of the New Day and Vince backstage and then the Bar beating up Kofi. Vince says, and this is exactly what the haters that I have do with the shows that I upload here on YouTube, they hear what they want to hear. And that's exactly what Vince McMahon said. And I love the fact that they're diving into this and they're trying to make sense of it. He said he gave Kofi an opportunity to compete, but he failed. I gave Kofi an opportunity and he let you all down. He did not get the job done. He said when things, when he says things, you better listen. He said everything that he does is a teachable moment. Now, I laughed out loud at this line. And you know why I laughed out loud with this line. Everything that Vince McMahon does is a teachable moment. And I would love to let you guys know that Vince McMahon and everything that he does on Monday Night Raw is a teachable moment. He is teaching us that Monday Night Raw each and every week is complete and utter garbage. And I absolutely love that. Teachable moments by Vince McMahon. We know that Monday Night Raw is trash. So he said that it was a teachable moment and then the New Day comes on out. Big E played a great role in this entire thing, man. I loved his intensity. Took the microphone, said, if I'm being honest, we're not interested in mood for you to teach us a damn thing. Vince told them to watch your mouth. They said that you make every request an appearance and never complain. But he still treats us, the New Day, like trash. Big E said Kofi deserves more. Vince says he doesn't deserve a damn thing. He said the fans don't deserve a damn thing. Nobody deserves a damn thing. He created SmackDown, he created Raw, he created WrestleMania. It's almost as if I created heaven and earth, he says. But I don't deserve a damn thing. He said no one deserves anything. Big E said this is bigger than just their opinion, and it's bigger than the New Day, and it's even bigger than his damn ego, and he's pointing at Vince McMahon. Vince said there is nothing justifiably bigger than my ego. So Xavier said if nobody deserves anything, they've earned something. Xavier said Kofi has defeated people who were champions, but for some reason, he was never rewarded with the WWE title opportunity that he deserves. Big E said the WWE Universe has one demand, that Kofi be given an opportunity to compete for the WWE Championship. Vince said Kofi is great, but he is not championship caliber. He said he'll go into the Hall of Fame someday, but only as a part of the New Day. So Vince McMahon pretty much confirming that the New Day and Kofi, a part of the New Day, are WWE Hall of Famers one day. So there you go. If you learned anything from this segment, it's that the New Day are bona fide WWE Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers, by Vince McMahon's own words. Not championship material, and that's not meant to be a knock. He said earlier he was talking to Bryan, and Bryan really hit the nail on the head. He said Bryan told him that Kofi is a nice B+ player. I could have done without that line because right then and there with that verbiage, you're just shredding Daniel Bryan similarities right there. And I wish that they wouldn't really use the same recycled garbage that you put on Daniel Bryan. All I had to hear during his run in 2014 was how much of a B-plus player he was. We don't need to hear that Kofi Kingston is a B-plus player. Let us just kind of sink our teeth into this thing without rehashing old storylines that you gave to Daniel Bryan coming from the mouth of Daniel Bryan himself. Big E and Xavier were mad. Kofi said, listen, don't get yourself fired over this situation. This is all on me. He said, Mr. McMahon, I'm not asking you for a free ride or a handout. For 11 years, I was just a kid with a dream, and that dream has near come true. He goes on to say, I get to travel the world entertaining the WWE Universe. My life is blessed. But over those 11 years, I have proven many times that I am worthy, and I just don't see it that way. Coming from you, you know? He says Vince McMahon doesn't see it that way. He said he doesn't complain about anything around here despite busting his ass every week after week, while other people are given opportunities because he thinks they're more worthy than him. Kofi went on to say he's missed weddings and birthdays, special moments. Do you know how I've never been trick-or-treating with my kids because I've always been here? He went on to say he wasn't there to see his son lose his first tooth in the excitement of getting money from the Tooth Fairy because he was on the road here for you. He never complains that he has never allowed someone like me to compete or contend for the WWE Championship. Pretty much saying that has to do with the color of his skin, without actually saying it has to do with the color of his skin. Like I said in the beginning, they all, they went all there except for that. Pretty much telling you everything that, is the reason why he didn't get the championship, but it still had undertones of that, in my honest opinion. He said, what I need from you right here, right now, face-to-face, man-to-man, is to tell me what I need to do so I can do it. These people believe in me. Randy Orton's music comes out, or plays, and he comes out. Samoa Joe's music, he comes on out. The Bar comes on out. Rowan comes on out. And Daniel Bryan comes on out. Now, like I mentioned, before I get out of here, I don't think Kofi's going to win next week. If he does, great. I was, for the first time, finally emotionally invested in all of this. I really was. And I love the fact that WWE is running with this. This literally fell right into their lap. And more times than not, when something falls into their lap, it's the best thing that could possibly happen for a WWE storyline because they were unprepared for it. And they have no choice but to go in real with all of this and kind of strike this at the center of it as to why it makes it special. Kofi being real and not really born for this role at WrestleMania makes it all that much better. I've been on the fence about this. I feel like the Kofi bandwagoners are really taking my enjoyment away from this because they want it so badly without looking at, the entire landscape of what's going on. And the reports of Daniel Bryan being put over Kofi at WrestleMania to make him into a super heel. I've never said that was the way WWE was going. That's what Meltzer reported. I had to hear about shit on social media that I reported this. I don't report anything. I give my opinion on what is reported by other sources. But everybody on the Kofi bandwagon has really made me take a step back and not enjoy it as much because you guys wanted this so badly that you threw it in everybody's fucking face and you would just not let it go. You were too ignorant to think of all the other things surrounding this, and you were ignorant to even look at any other fucking possibility. You were ignorant to look at the Mustapha Ali being injured situation. Oh, Mustapha Ali would have never gotten over. I failed to believe that. Yes, he doesn't have the long tenured career that a Kofi Kingston does, but how the fuck do you know unless you are in that moment? You don't know. I love this for the first time since this entire Kofi Mania thing started. Why? Because he showed us the real emotion from someone, and we can all relate to that. Every word that Kofi Kingston uttered to Vince McMahon, it's like you're pretty much in Kofi's shoes and you're talking to your boss or your superior at work. You were in that moment feeling what Kofi felt. I know everybody's been there. I've been there. I've said those things to people that I've worked for. That's what makes this thing special. They took it to that level, and now I am more invested than I was in this entire thing. Are we going to get Kofi as the WWE champion? I don't know. Is he going to do it next week? I don't know. I'll tell you what. The way that they set this thing up for next week, you know everybody's going to be watching. They're going to pop a big rating for this next week. Do I think he does it? No. I don't think you can sacrifice Orton, Joe, and Bryan in the same match to get Kofi into WrestleMania. There's got to be another way to do it. Maybe he comes close and he loses it in the end. And Vince does the fucking typical WWE thing, gives us the gauntlet match. He's more over than he ever was, and he gets added anyway into a WWE Championship match with Daniel Bryan. Maybe Bryan's the last guy that he's got to go through, instead of being the first in the first gauntlet match. Maybe he comes short and doesn't beat Daniel Bryan, and Bryan himself gives him the opportunity because he showcased who exactly he was. But I finally feel invested in this because we all felt that real emotion coming from Kofi Kingston, and I loved Vince McMahon's part in this, giving him all the reasons why he doesn't deserve a championship match. I've been with you for 11 years. I've known you for 11 years. If I seen you as a WWE champion, I would have done this already for you. I thought this was great. And to be honest with you, everybody's still wondering. Everybody is still wondering what they're going to do with Kofi Kingston. Is he going to go? Is he going to do it next week? Is he going to fail it next week? Kofi Kingston was in the main event of SmackDown Live with Vince McMahon himself on the road to WrestleMania. If anything happens, Kofi is definitely going to WrestleMania in a major program. They are not falling short right now with this. Whether he wins or loses, he's going to WrestleMania. They are not going to give you TV for the next 2 weeks with Kofi Kingston and then not set him up for a WWE Championship match. He was in the main event of SmackDown Live with Vince McMahon himself. When you're in the ring with Vince McMahon himself, you're a pretty big deal. On the road to WrestleMania, you're a main event guy. I think we all understand where Kofi Kingston is right now in the hierarchy of WWE this WrestleMania season. I think Kofi's going to be just fine. Whether he wins the title or not remains to be seen. But I think after tonight, what we all feel is we all want Kofi Kingston to be the WWE champion, whether it's for a short reign or a long run, like someone who truly deserves it. Either way, we're probably looking at Kofi challenging for the WWE Championship. It's too early to make assumptions on if he's going to win it or not. But the ride that they're taking us on, I think it's great, man. A little bizarre and a little outlandish that he's got to go through these 6 guys, 3 of them being Bryan, Orton, and Joe. We'll see, man. If I'm booking this, I'm not having him go through any of those 3 guys on the road to WrestleMania. I'm sorry. They all have big things for themselves this WrestleMania season, and I don't want to sacrifice those 3 guys, one of them being a champion, 2 of them being a champion, and Bryan has lost already several times in non-title situations. I don't want to see it again. So we'll see what happens with Kofi Kingston next week. It should pop a big rating on SmackDown Live. I am getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much for all your support. Bonfire.com. Make sure you guys check the description for your t-shirts down below, man, at the very top. JD's Elite on Bonfire.com. Get it today, and I would really, really appreciate it. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, man. JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And if you guys missed any of my videos this past weekend on into this week, make sure you guys go and check all that stuff out. I got a brand new gaming walkthrough coming tomorrow, man. Part 1 of Devil May Cry 5 for the PS4, man. Fastlane, Raw, Off the Script, episode 265, all at your disposal in the top right corner of the screen. Let's try for 2,000 thumbs up, man. And I'll see you guys for NXT tomorrow night, the continuation of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. See you guys then. Hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you for NXT on Wednesday night.